So I just wanted to talk about a couple things today, cover some fundamentals that are going to cover the ground of fighting games in general. I don't really want to talk about combos because those are character specific, those might be game specific, they're not going to transfer over, and I think bang for your buck, fundamentals are much more important. You can learn the muscle memory, you can do the combos, that's great. Do it on your own. I really don't think they're that important. The only thing you're going to get out of combos is when you're taking advantage of a situation, you're going to do a little bit more damage. I mean, you have it programmed in your brain, you do your string, the string does damage. That's all you're getting out of that. Other than that, fundamentals are going to open up holes in their defenses, you're going to be able to recognize patterns, and you're going to be able to punish. So, first and foremost, talking about patterns. Everything a player does, you want to try to program your brain to recognize the things that the person does and try to use it against them. If they like to jump, punish, punish. If they like to stay on the ground, try to find ways to control the distance between you and the other person to take advantage of the things that they do. Try to lure them into doing things. When it comes to patterns, the first thing I want to talk about is jumping. As an offensive player, which I like to be aggressive, I like to do that. Try to stop jumping so much. Jumping is probably the second most punishable thing in the entire game. The only thing that's more punishable than a jump is a whipped shuriken. You whiff it, you're up in the air, you're stuck, you're screwed. So stop trying to jump so much, because as you jump, you are very vulnerable. Let me change the character state for Ryu here to jump for a little bit. So he's jumping in the air. Every time he jumps, I can Shoryuken him. I can down heavy. There's several things. If he's further away, I can... That might be a bad example because it's not very high up in the air, but you find your moves to punish and you take advantage of it. If a character is going to jump, it's punishable. They are very vulnerable in the air. Do not try to jump so much because it's punishable. Instead, try to control the distance and close the gap to get in and do your attacks in different ways. Ken in Street Fighter V has that thing where you tap both medium, heavy punch, or medium punch, medium kick, and he does the dash. That's kind of cool. I find it goes a little bit too far for me, and it leaves yourself a little vulnerable, but that's a method. You could do your dashes, of course. You can also do some specials or regular moves that close the gap. Like you see, he takes a step forward when doing some of these moves. This one doesn't. So finding out what the different things you are to close the gaps instead of jumping. And if your opponent is jumping, punish them every time they jump. With Ken and Ryu or all the Ashodos, Shoryuken's your best thing. You can do it all day long, punish them when they jump. The only thing I have to say against that is at the beginning of the match, I like to jump a little bit. I like to see if the opponent is gonna punish me. As a defender, you want to punish them every time you jump, because jumping is the most effective way of closing the gap, but it's also very punishable. So if you can jump and get away with it and the opponent is not punishing you, exploit the hell out of it. Jump in, do your combos, do anything you're gonna do. Do anything, do a cross-up. Oh, let me actually do a cross-up. I whiffed it. So, do your cross-up. Do anything you're going to do. If they're not going to punish you, exploit it all day. Feel it out. If they are going to punish you, stop jumping. Stop jumping. It really depends on your opponent, but a good opponent will punish you every time you jump. And it makes it much more difficult to control the distance between you and the opponent, but that's something you have to learn to deal with, because jumping, you're going to get hit. The next thing I want to talk about is pokes. This can be somewhat character specific, but typically your mediums are going to do the most distance. Like Ken here is punching with his medium punch, and it's going across the red line a little bit. You'll notice the heavy and the light don't do that. So it's the most pokeable one. I find his crouching heavy is a really good poke. His standing one goes a little farther, but typically you have to read the block. They're going to block standing or they're going to block crouching. And a lot of times if you mix it up, you can get openings. Another poke is to jump and do something, but typically you have to move in and out, get your pokes. So learn the attacks that cover distance and get in and out quickly so that you can get in and do some pokes, find out if they're going to block or not. And if they are blocking, do not start your combo until you see something break through their guard, and that's called hit confirming. And basically, if you see me, I know you guys have seen me do this a million times, I'll do some light attacks like this, and if you're blocking me, I'll try to throw you. If you don't block me, I'll start trying to do a combo or something. You know, you move into a Shoryuken or a Hadoken or a Tatsu, you know, something. But hit confirm before you start your combo, because if they're blocking and you start your combo, typically there's going to be a hole in your combo where you're left open and they're going to punish you. So try to get in the habit of hit confirming. The last thing I want to talk about with pokes is fake outs. So there are different things you could do to make an opponent think that you screwed up. So what common one I like to do is be at a distance where I know it's not going to hit and do a light Shoryuken. You know, I land still fairly far away. They might think I'm going for a medium. Obviously with Ken, they're not going to see the fire with the heavy, but you want to trick them into thinking that you whiff something so that they try to punish you, and then you get them to whiff something and you punish them instead. Fake outs are really great. With Ken, his light Tatsu is much different than his other ones. So you could be having a match and do light Tatsus all over the place. They get, or medium Tatsus, sorry, all over the place. They think you're going for that all the time, and then you throw this in there. It lands really fast, and it can go into heavy Shoryuken really fast, and you can punish them. I do that all the time, and that's something that works. I guess there's one more thing to talk about with pokes, and that is you need to learn what works. Standing, crouching, and in the air. So standing, you need to learn what, I know I talked about the medium one, that one works the best. Typically the medium punch with Ken works the best too. In previous games it's this one, but this one doesn't work. It's a little slow in Street Fighter 5, so this one's quick. It gets the hit out faster. The animation doesn't always reflect it. Like, the animation for the kick looks like it goes fast, but trust me, this one goes faster. In the air, I like to do the medium kick the best. The reason why is it does cross-ups very easily, whereas this one, the heavy, doesn't cross up as much. If you're trying to get in a combo, you want to land deep, so you want to go aim for the cross-up, but if you can land deep and get in their face when you're on the ground, you're going to be most likely to be able to get your combo off, because as you give out hits, they get pushed away. So land as deep as you can. A lot of times I'll try to go for something like this so that I can get as deep as possible, and that is just his heavy punch. It points down at the ground. You're going to land as deep as you can, but that's also the one that's most dangerous because his face is right there, and you're probably going to get hit. Another reason why I like the medium is because his kick extends pretty far out from his face, and it's up higher than the heavy. Here's a heavy, here's a medium, here's a heavy, here's a medium. So the medium blocks your face more. So if you're colliding midair, medium's safer. If you're meeting in the air and you're higher than them, the heavy punch works. If you're meeting and you're lower than them, the light kick works because it goes up. Little stuff like that you have to learn between each character, but learning how to do different things in different situations and poking them to see what they're going to do and then trying to react. And if they're blocking, you can go for a throw. If they're not blocking and they're taking damage, you're seeing that, you're confirming the hit, and you're moving on to your combo. And the last thing I want to talk about is a rock, paper, scissors game. And this is most prominent on wake-ups. So what a wake-up is when you get hit, you're waking up, you're coming up from the ground. So on offense, if your enemy is on the ground, there's a few things you could do as they're waking up. You could do nothing. You can jump. A lot of times you'll see me jump right before you wake up to try to, take advantage of something. You can push buttons and attack, or you can go for a throw. Now I want to talk about the defensive side of those things. So, if you're standing up and you see that the player is doing nothing, attack him. Maybe don't go for a wake-up Shoryuken because those are punishable, and if they're doing nothing, they could also be getting ready to block. So maybe not a Shoryuken, but, try to do the hit confirm thing. Try to throw some lights, see if it's hitting. If it's hitting, go for Shoryuken. But if it doesn't, you're not whiffing it and then getting punished. So if they're jumping, again, punish the jump. With Shotos, Shoryuken all day long. It's the most punishable thing all day. You will hit them with a light Shoryuken every time they're in the air. Punish them. So if they're pushing buttons trying to attack you, block. And if they go for a throw, what you want to do is you can either try to throw them to cancel the jump, or you could jump, which will cause them to whiff the throw. So they'll go in for the throw, they'll miss, and then you can come down, punish them. And you can do these rock, paper, scissors games anytime in the game. You know, you're trying to control distance, you're trying to do your pokes. You know, it applies here because, you know, if they're pushing buttons trying to poke you, you can block. That's all the same things apply. And it's basically, if the opponent is doing nothing, you can attack. If they're jumping, punish. If they're attacking, you block. If they throw, you can either throw back or jump. Those are the most basic things that apply anytime in the game. But the most common thing you'll see is on wake-ups. And you'll see, you know, the first time they get knocked on the ground, what they do. The second time they knock down, if they repeat it, this is a predictable player. And you can really get in their head. So look for patterns, try to get in their head, and I promise you, if you can master these fundamentals, you guys will mop the floor with me, because I may have these fundamental things in my brain from playing Street Fighter so long, but you guys have some serious video game skills that surpass mine. And I really think that you guys have a lot more potential than I do. So if I can raise you guys up to a new level, all it does is it's going to bring us all up to a new level, because once we start sparring together as higher level people, we all start growing. So let's do it. Let's grow. Let's kick some ass.